Mises is a person. As I say, he's intransigent, uncompromising, etc. He was sweet and charming in person. It was very interesting because, well, those of us who were going to meet Mises, either studying in a seminar or any other circumstance, we usually quaking in our boots. Here's this guy's lashing out at all the enemies, all the bad guys, and we figure this guy's a fiery monster, great on the great side, but lashing out constantly. He was a sweetie pie. He was always trying to encourage, charming and courteous, always trying to encourage students to do research, throwing out research projects, even students who are obviously clunks who never do any research. He was always trying to encourage them in doing this. And one great statement, which I've written about, but I think deserves mentioning here, in order to put people at their ease in the seminar, I mean, these people didn't know anything. Most of us didn't know anything. And here's this great man, tremendous amount of knowledge and erudition. He said, look, he wanted to stimulate questions or comments. He said, look, don't be afraid to say anything, because whatever you say, regardless of how idiotic it is, some eminent economist has already said it. Marvelous, I love it. And of course he was right. I mean, not only was this funny, he was also correct. And he's always trying to encourage us to to speak up and say what our position was on things, etc. He's also full of, I'd say, great anecdotes. There's one charming one I remember. Those of you who are philosophically inclined particularly appreciate. He was walking along the streets of Vienna. Of course, in Vienna, everybody walks all the time. It's a great city to walk in. Even I walk in Vienna. I usually don't walk. I usually take a cab 2 blocks, being an inveterate New Yorker. At any rate, and he was walking with Max Scheler, who's a distinguished philosopher from Germany, and they were attacking logical positivism, which was coming in there as the big new thing. And which then, of course, took over the philosophic profession and ruled it with an iron hand for about 30 years. Its iron grip is only now beginning to fade. And Scheler finally, who comes from Berlin, finally said, well, look, Ludwig, Lou, what is there in the climate of Vienna? What is there in this place, the climate of this place, that breeds all these damn logical positivists? And Mises gave it, I think, a typical reply from Mises. He says, shrugs his shoulders, said, well, look, Max, in Vienna there are now 2 million people, let's say. And of the 2 million, about 12 logical positivists. So it can't be the climate creates them. So this is typical Misesian wit. And another great story I'll tell you about Mises, another great anecdote. He was, after World War I, there was a communist regime in Hungary for about 6 months, 6 very bloody months, the Bela Kun regime. And Mises was representing Austria in a trade treaty with communist Hungary. And Karl Polanyi, the famous left-wing sociologist, I guess you call him, and was the representative from Hungary. And so Mises said he and Polanyi used to walk around Vienna and talk about trade and something. Both of them realized, of course, the Bela Kun regime would fold in a few months. And the whole idea of Polanyi was to prolong the negotiations so he could stay in Vienna and get the hell out. And so they had a fine time just sort of just BSing in general until the Kun regime dissolved and Polanyi was safe. So such is the history of diplomacy.